Alright guys, this is the first deck tech for the dual network, and the deck that I'm going to be featuring this time is a Gladiator Beast deck for the March 2010 format. Now, this deck has a specific style of play, so if you're going to be making this deck, you have to actually follow that style of play. It's more of an anti-meta Gladiator Beast. It's going to be strong against a lot of the decks that are going around now. So in this deck, there are two Laquaris, pretty simple, the big beaters of the deck. There's a Hoplomus, just in case you need to have that defender up there. Two Darius. The reason I'm playing two is because I'm abusing Prisma in this build. One Samnite, just the one Samnite, in case you want to abuse the search ability or you want to cat him out. Obviously the Bestiari. The Murmillo, the Equeste in case you want to recycle. That's actually all of the GBs that are in the deck. You might be thinking, oh wow, it's a really small GB lineup. Well, yeah, it is. This is a anti-meta deck. This isn't a full GB deck. Now I'm playing the full Stratos, double Prisma, and Rhoda build. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because one, Prisma is huge in this deck. You're going to be able to abuse Darius a lot more than you would be able to, almost as much as you used to be able to. So Prisma is huge, and the Rhoda and the Stratos actually helped bring them out really fast. And the Stratos actually oftentimes can bait out a Bottomless, because they only have two of them, so it can bait out a Bottomless and save your Bestiari for later. There are two Rai-Ohs in this deck. Now a lot of people might be thinking, well, why Rai-Ohs? Well, bottom line is, Rai-Oh is a big beater. You put him on the board, and they either have to suicide a Fire Dog, or they have to Bottomless him, or you might be able to pop off a Synchro if your opponent is a little bit of an idiot and they forget. It's happened before, and he also prevents Blackwings from searching. He also prevents Recruiters from searching, so you can just drop him and poke. Rai-Oh is a big stall card, and for a deck like this, with a lot of tech, and with a lot of anti-meta, you're going to need the stall for a bit. I'm playing two. You can actually play even three Rai-Ohs. I used to play three. Now, there are three Test Tigers. That's obvious. They go along with the GBs. Now, this build can either be played with Cat or without Cat. I am trying it with Cat right now. I don't really like it. I might go back to without Cat. But for now, it's not so bad. The Cat is good because you can drop the Airbellum. There's a lot of protection in this deck, so you can drop the Airbellum and even just poke if you happen to draw it. It's not the greatest card to draw, but in the tournaments that I've played so far, it's been a good plus by making them drop cards out of their hand. The Books of Moon, you need 3 Books of Moon. They're huge in this deck. They keep their Rai-Ohs active for as long as possible, and they save the rest of your GBs as well as make attack targets for your GBs. There's no Wabokus in this deck, so the books are huge. Enemy Controller is just so versatile, especially in this format where everyone's running level 8 Synchros because of the Flamvels. The Enemy Controller is huge. Heavy Storm and Brain Control. They're just power cards. You guys all know about them. Your staples, Trap Dust Shoot. Every pro plays Trap Dust Shoot. Just helps you read your opponent's hand that much easier. Solemn Judgment, Mirror Force, triple Chariot. Yeah, a lot of people are thinking, well, why triple? Some people say it's too much. Some people say it's too little, especially with this GB lineup. But Chariot is one of the biggest cards in this deck. Without Chariot, this deck is a lot weaker, and this deck abuses Chariot. It's more of an anti-strategy deck. So Chariot can stop the spies. Chariot can stop the Flamvels from searching. Chariot can stop the monarchs that are coming out that are being played a lot. Chariots are very aggressive. Triple Trapstun. This is huge, especially in a deck where you rely so heavily on Prisma and you can get targeted so easily by Bottomless. Triple Trapstun is huge. Now, there are a lot of books running around these days, which could be a problem, but Triple Trapstun will usually stop anything that you want, and they also combo with some of the other cards in this deck. So Triple Trapstun is huge. I always play it in 3s. Double Bottomless. That's a standard. You guys all know about it. 1D Prison. It's a good card. It protects against Stardust as it removes it instead of destroying it. And removal in general is what people are going for these days. Destruction is kind of weak. There is 1 oppression in this main build. I sometimes throw 2 oppressions in. If I'm not playing the cat build, I need to throw 2 oppressions in because I find that it's very, very aggressive. Especially in this huge synchro format, the oppressions are huge. With the less value abuse going around these days, oppression is actually very powerful. And now you're thinking, well, why oppression? Because GBs always contact summon, and they always need to special summon and swap out. Oppression is going to screw over GBs. Well, not with the Trap Stun. With the Trap Stun, they can use your oppression to pay the cost, but you're still going to negate that oppression. And those trap stuns are huge in this deck with the oppression. They combo together very nicely. It's used so often. The other use for trap stun is actually to stop Icarus attacks and all of those huge trap cards that neg the GB player, because GBs can't lose advantage in this format. And then obviously the power Torrential Tribute. That's it for the main deck. It's a pretty solid build. It just needs a little bit of tweaking, this particular build. There's a full view for those of you who want to take a closer look. And aside from that, there is a sideboard. This sideboard isn't very solid right now. It's going to be changed for the upcoming regionals. The sideboard has the third Rai-Oh, which I'm going to probably put into the main deck. One search card, one Proving Grounds. It's there because simply just because sometimes there's so little GBs in the deck you want to search. Sometimes searching for the Bestiari and just setting it for a contact fuse is a very powerful play. The second oppression, that's probably going to go into the main board once the cat's taken out. Knock. Knock is huge right now, especially with people setting spies all over the place and setting Sangans and setting recruiters. Knock is huge in this format. Enemy controller, just for the mirror match. My Body as a Shield. Very strong card. I was actually playing it in the main board before, but I took it out just because I didn't have room. It's actually a very strong card to play. Dimensional Fissure in 3. This card stops zombies for the few remnants of zombies. Probably not going to run into a lot of them these days, but you will run into Lightsworn a lot. D-Fissure is huge against Lightsworn. D-Fissure plus Rai-Oh. Well, there's no more brigades anymore. It is at 1, but D-Fissure plus the Rai-Ohs put a huge stop to Lightsworn because they have a very hard time getting around it. Bestiari, again, it's probably going to go into the main board, but I was a little hesitant to put it there right now because people aren't really worried about their grave as often as in this format, just because of the Flamvel Monarchs and the Flamvel Cat that's going around. 1 Mind Control for the mirror match, take control of your opponent's GB contact fuse. 2 Jujutsu Masters, just in case you run into those big beaters and you need to swing them back into your opponent. And a Smashing Ground for aggro, I guess, just smashing away your opponents. Now, in terms of the synchros and the fusions, it's pretty self-explanatory. This build is quite self-explanatory. You got your Hercs, you guys know what they do. Your guys Dariuses, you guys know what they do too. Then I just threw in a couple level 7s and a Stardust Dragon. I actually have a Twilight Road that I also put into the sideboard. There's only 14 cards in the sideboard. Twilight Road's just there just because you have so much back row and it's good to protect it. With the Twilight Road, you get a free Stardust. Unfortunately, I think I left my Twilight Road with Audrey, who's a little 1X. I gave it to her today to play in a duel, but I'll be getting that probably on Saturday. So yeah, that can also be thrown into the sideboard. Anyways, that's the build. And if you guys have any questions about the build or any ideas or tweaks, feel free to leave a comment or a video response. And yeah, thanks for watching.